Hey guys, Chinamen here, and we're back doing a quick series recap of the Australia-England T20 series. It's just played in August 2020, and we're going to go through first our team of the series, who we thought performed, and then we're going to go through some points we think we can take out of the series coming forward for both teams.
Just to make it clear, there was only 3 games played, and all of them were really close. So making a team of the series was quite difficult in terms of distinguishing between certain players, and obviously there are certain players in that team which may not be playing that role for their individual teams.
Yeah,
So, for example, I think for all 3 of us, majority of our team, well, for the batters are all openers.
Yeah, I think with 2020, you only really need like 1 or 2 players to play well for you to win. So it's kind of doesn't truly show a reflection of like the actual team that won the series,
Yeah, so if anyone missed the series, England won 2-1. It was very close. All 3 games were fairly close, especially the first one. It was generally a low-scoring series, and good spin bowling was certainly the main topic of the series, I would say. But let's get into our team of the series. My openers, obviously I have 4 openers in the side. I think most of us do, but I've just put Butler and Finch there as they were probably the best 2.
I can't really contest that.
Yep.
They were the 2 highest. Well, they were 2 of the top 3 highest run scorers, and Butler probably was the match winner in the first 2 games with those innings.
Yep.
And Finch was probably Australia's standout batter as well.
Yeah, I got exactly the same.
Yep.
Finch and Butler. Butler looked really good, and I think he definitely should be the opener. And like we discussed that before, I think he's nailed it down now.
Yep.
And Finch was pretty good. Only complaint is that he didn't go on with any of his innings to an extent. Yeah,
Did any Australian batter pass 50? Apart from Warner?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm guessing we've gone for a similar middle order then as well. Obviously Finch and Butler were the standouts, but I've gone with David Milan at 3. And then Bairstow and Warner just in the team basically, because I'm just picking my best 11. Bairstow only had 1 good innings, but got a 50, which is they're anywhere about 4 50s in the series, maybe 5. And Warner was just solid. I think he got 150, and then actually
just 150 and a duck.
Yeah.
But still, the 50 was pretty good. He couldn't
That's
get the
the thing.
job done.
Like majority of the batters played well for only 1 innings, and then every other innings they played was a bit meh. So you can't really distinguish between them. Like you could easily have a case. I don't know if you have Mitch Marsh in the team.
Yeah, I do.
Or Stoinis. Do you have Stoinis in the team?
Certainly not.
I guess we can move on because we've all got the same. Yeah, my number 6 was Mitch Marsh, because Stoinis. I think it's a classic Stoinis. Like he didn't even do that well, but his average looks good because he had a few not outs. Mitch Marsh actually got us over the line in the end, so
yeah,
I'll have him in the team.
Any of Stoinis' innings really positively helped the team much at all, except for maybe the one in the last game. Sure, he got some runs, but he can't score fast, and he also can't get the team home like Mitch Marsh could.
Yep.
So Ryan, who have you got?
Copy and paste.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah, Hyderabad boys, then Marsh. So bowlers. I've actually gone with 3 spinners because I thought it was pretty much a spin-dominated series. Hope we're not all going to have the same team here. That'd be pretty boring.
Well, I don't have 3. I have 2.
Okay. Well, I'll start off with the 2 that I think everyone's going to have in the team, and that's my 2 best players of the series, Agar and Rashid. In my ranking, I thought Agar was just above Milan and having the second best in the series. For me, Rashid was also the standout player with 6 wickets. He was my man of the match for 2 of the games of the series, actually. And I think they both...
Rashid. The only thing against Agar is that he's an all-rounder, so his batting, you could say, maybe wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Well, his bowling alone was good. I think his first over of the series went for like 16. And other than that, I think he was pretty good.
I think even though he is deemed an all-rounder, you wouldn't expect him to bat much in 2020, considering his batting, 7?
But I think nowadays you need your number 7 to be pretty good.
But I don't think he performed badly. He had, yeah.
I think he was put under a lot of pressure by our
Yeah.
middle order discontinuing lapsing. But I think his batting's more of a problem in one days. He sort of has to be in this side when he's bowling alone because he's bowling so well.
Yeah.
But is he batting well enough to be number 7? I don't know. He was okay in that last game.
We could discuss it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. I assume you had Agar Rashid, Ryan?
Yep. The thing, I didn't put Agar on the best 22 last video.
Yeah.
What
I
happened?
don't think
That's
you'll
kind
make
of
that
funny.
mistake again.
I sure wish we had Cameron Green this series, considering how he's playing in the
I
Caribbean.
mean, Chris Green.
Cameron Green.
I also wish we had Cameron Green this series, but that's another matter.
Yeah. So
Other three.
your other spinner, I assume, is Moeen.
No, it's Zampa. I'm not coming with Zampa.
Really?
Yeah, I was looking into Zampa, but he was really expensive. That was the thing.
It was too expensive, in my opinion.
Well, I'll be interested to see who you guys have. But Zampa had that one good bowling performance in the last game where I think it was almost a game-winning performance. He got those 2 wickets wide in the middle because he got, what did you get? You got Milan out and then got Billing straight away, which took them from, like 2 for 50 to, 2 for 70 to like 4 for 90. That's the only thing that won Australia that game, really, apart from Mitch Marsh holding up the lower order. So that was enough to put him in my team.
True.
Yeah, I guess because it's a short series, one match-winning performance would be good enough to get him into the team. But
that's true for like pretty much every player except Butler.
Zampa's other 2 games, no, it's kind of interesting because at times his bowling looked pretty tight, but then like 1 or 2 costly overs, especially at the death. I don't know why that's a thing. Zampa at the death.
Yeah, that's you can't really put that on Zampa because he's not really a bowler designed for the death. Like you don't bowl leg spin at the death unless you bowl quick or into the deck. Like
especially bowling to left-handers. I think Moeen and Milan both dispatched him a bit.
Yeah, I mean, his first game was okay until Finch decided to bowl him in the 19th over and he went 8. So it was like, he shouldn't really be bowling him. So, I may as well go through with all my bowlers. So my other 2 are Archer and Wood, I think it was. I thought they were the best 2 pacers this series from England's perspective. I think Curran and Jordan were okay, but they weren't quite getting that many wickets or doing that much. I think Archer and Wood were the standout pacers across both teams.
Yeah, I agree. I have Archer and Wood as well. I mean, Jordan and Curran did close it out a little bit at the death, but Archer and Wood's wicket-taking ability was better than that. So I got them too.
Yeah, I'm the same. Got Archer and Wood.
So who's your third bowler?
But I've got Stark instead of Zampa. Now, I don't know. This is a position I wasn't quite sure. Because you could easily put Kane Richardson in just on the stats alone. Because I thought he bowled pretty decent.
I've gone with Kane Richardson for the stats point of view.
Yeah.
Just because his first game was pretty economical. So I'll have him there. I think Stark
Stark at the top, like when he was bowling was it Bairstow in the last 2 games? There was a couple of chances for LBW.
I mean, Stark got 2 wickets this series, and one of them was Bairstow knocking off his bails for no reason. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. His last game was good, but it wasn't as good as Zampa's. I'm not. I don't know. It's hard to pick the 5th bowler. There weren't that many good ones.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty tough.
But I find it interesting how you said before the episode that you thought Kane Richardson was statistically Australia's best pace bowler, yet you put Stark in the team.
Yeah, right.
Well, what's up with that?
Well, I did say after.
Was that just a beta?
No, I don't know. I think I didn't watch the full game just because of the time zone lapse, since we're in Australia. But I don't know. Judging from how much swing Stark was getting at top, and the amount of chances he had, I think there was a couple of, obviously LBW's LBW, but the fact that he was close on a number of occasions and troubled Bairstow, and I don't think he troubled Butler, but troubled Bairstow to a certain extent was good enough for me anyway. Not that it shows on paper. and affected the result in any way.
I was going to say, I think it's
But
kind
if
of
you
interesting.
if you
Sorry.
can't distinguish like performances on paper between bowlers, then it comes down to what you see in the match, right? So
I was going to say, you could argue like this series has been pretty low scoring, yet like it's pretty hard to pick which bowlers have done really well. It's just they all chip together, I guess, for both sides.
I think if you look at the economy rates, they're all really low. So they didn't necessarily take wickets, but they just kept it tight.
Yeah. I thought Hazelwood was really good at keeping it tight as well in the last game. I thought he bowled really well. I think Hazelwood's very underrated.
Yeah, I agree with that.
People say he doesn't have enough variations, but he's just so solid. He always has a great economy rate.
That was the thing with the Big Bash. He was second on the economy rate behind Mujib, and it was like in a 6.3, 6.4.
Yep.
So
when
it's
you
definitely a
think about
case for him.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having Hazelwood to an extent in the team.
The thing is, we have so many fast bowling like options.
I think you could look at Hazelwood the same as if India were to play Mohammad Shami. Like, just bowl him up front, keeps it tight. That's it. That's what do you need him? What else do you need him for?
I prefer Hazelwood in T20s to Kane Richardson. I think it's that simple. I think he's just a bit better. It's got a bit more quality, and because he didn't play T20s for so long, everyone sort of forgot that he could. But I think he brings what Stark and Cummins do to the T20 side as well. Like the same thing they bring to the Test side, they also bring to the T20 side. Funnily enough.
And even though Hazelwood did play really well, I was actually surprised that he played ahead of Meredith. Like, I thought Meredith would be given that chance if someone else was to get a chance. So it's interesting to see what they're thinking right now.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd drop Stark and Cummins, give them a rest for the one days and play, or even drop all of them, play Sams and Meredith and Hazelwood. Like, I was hoping they'd just revamp the team. But,
I guess we'll just flow from now, just random conversations about what we think.
Yeah, sure. Sam's.
Do you actually think, like in the pecking order, do you think Hazelwood's actually ahead of Meredith for selectors in selectors' minds?
I'd say pedigree-wise, yes.
Yes. Yeah. I'd say so.
But you'd still say Cambridge is at the top.
No.
Well, no, I don't. I mean, we don't want him to be, but he probably.
Do you think the selectors?
Yes. Yeah. In my mind, no.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But I mean, I think the last game proves that Hazelwood's ahead of Meredith because he played. As much as they like Meredith.
Yeah.
Meredith's great because he's fast. He's great talent, but he's never been like the best bowler in domestically or anything. Like he's good, but he's never been as good as Hazelwood and the like.
I feel like they're trying a lot of options. It wasn't long ago when Stanlake was in the team as well. This summer actually, and same with Abbott. They might just keep trying other options because Stark and Cummins seem to be nailed on.
To be honest, it's so competitive for that final bowling spot. Like I honestly would be happy with any of those options.
Yeah,
it's just hard to pick. Wait, no, I meant out of Richardson, Meredith, and Hazelwood.
Also, Andrew Ty is still there, and that was meant to be his spot like a few years ago.
Just forget
He's just tapering off slowly.
I can think of 10 bowlers that would be better suited for the T20 team than Andrew Ty.
But Ty's still in the squad.
He's still in the IPL as well.
I know, but last year's IPL went for him.
I don't think he'll play much this year. Rajasthan has a lot of players, but that's for another time. I was going to say one more. How much of the third game, how much does that say about like things? Because Matthew Wade, let's talk about Matthew Wade.
Sure, okay. That can
is he a wicket-keeping option for Australia?
Yes, certainly.
Why not? In the Test side, no. But T20...
Yeah, obviously not. Yeah.
No.
You don't need to have an amazing keeper for T20s.
But the thing is, though, he's not going to... He can't open. There's a Warner and Finch are just too good at the top. So where do we bat him? That's the problem.
I mean, I think he's not Stoinis, though. Wade can bat 6.
Wade's batted 6 for the majority of his international career.
Yeah. And
you could argue it wasn't good enough, but Carey hasn't done the job for like this whole calendar year, I'd say.
Yeah. I love to attack Carey, and I think he's okay at times, but he's been so inconsistent. He didn't have a great Big Bash, really, although no Australian keepers were that amazing, except for maybe Philippi. But like...
Josh Inglis?
And they're okay, but they're what else?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Josh Inglis and Philippi, you'd put them in the same sort of category, but I think Philippi's got a bit more
But
more
even
there.
still, every keeper in the
Right
Big
now,
Bash
anyway.
plays like a top order role,
Yeah, you sort of have to.
except
Now.
for like Jay Lenton, but
It's
he's
not
not
possible
good at
to-
all. So.
What's the point of having a specialist keeper in the Big Bash game? Like, who cares? It's the T20.
That's why it's kind of hard because you pick the best batters in the Australian team, and then the keepers end up being at the bottom. And they're not doing the job there.
Yeah.
That's why KL Rahul for India is so good, because he's easily in the
He's
top
going to
six.
open.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Another question: does Marcus Stoinis have a future in the Australian T20 scene?
I think number 3 was like if they just think about it, like
The
they
problem is, like, I think we mentioned this last video, that Smith and Stoinis, like, you can't have them blocking up too many balls. Obviously, we know Smith can go, but how consistently can he score quickly? That was the thing with his IPL, wasn't it last year? He couldn't really get going, strike a run.
Stoinis didn't even play.
No, I meant Smith.
Right. What I was going to say is Stoinis and Mitch Marsh can't both play, right?
Well, unless you drop Smith, maybe.
Yeah,
That's
which
not
I don't
going
think.
to happen.
The one thing was weird about Smith in this series. I feel like he was trying too hard to score quickly rather than scoring at all. Which is kind of weird for him. Like you don't see him play like that.
Yeah, he's trying to adapt his game, I think. This is fair enough. I mean, he doesn't get that much practice in T20 format either.
Yeah.
But I mean, does Steve Smith have to be Australia's number 3 in the T20 side?
I think if he plays, he has to be there.
If Marcus Stoinis plays with Steve Smith, then no. But if Marcus Stoinis doesn't play, then Smith has about a 3.
I think only one of Smith or Stoinis can be in the team, and that's because I don't think either of them are useful enough if batting lower than the top 3, and Finch and Warner have to be our openers. Therefore, only one of Smith and Stoinis, I think, could be in our T20 side.
I think that's probably the way they're thinking now, considering Stoinis played
Well,
3.
that depends. Are we assuming Maxwell bowls a few overs then?
Why?
Take the burden off those 5 quicks, the 5 bowlers, the 5 main bowlers if they get sent.
Wait, was there a reason Stoinis didn't bowl in this series?
I don't know, but the fact that he isn't means that there's almost definitely no place for Stoinis.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think only one of Smith or Stoinis can play, and I think Smith should be in the team. Therefore, my answer is no. I don't think Stoinis has a future in the Australian T20 side, but at least for the moment.
Yeah, but what about Mitch Marsh then?
It doesn't matter. Like he's a much far. He can get going much better than Stoinis can.
Oh, they both take really long to get. Like Marsh, we know he still needs a lot of time to get in.
So how about this? 3 Smith, 4 Maxwell, 5 Wade, 6 Mitch Marsh.
That's what I'd lean towards at the moment. I mean, that's the question. Are we over?
Well, in my eyes, like Mitch Marsh and Stoinis are like the same molded player.
I don't think that's true, really. Mitch Marsh is much more adaptable to the middle order.
Yeah.
He doesn't even play number 3 much, only for Perth, because like he's one of their only good batters.
Yeah, I think it's a genuine question. Are the press and is everyone starting to overhype Mitch Marsh too much over one good innings when Mitchie saved us the game?
Another thing, I think Mitch Marsh was underrated before in white ball cricket. Obviously, Test cricket, he's had his problems. White ball cricket, he can hit big at the end, and he's done it a lot of times. And he doesn't need as many balls as Stoinis. He might need some, but I don't think he needs as many as Stoinis.
And I mean, he's been bowling more than Stoinis has recently as well.
Yeah, but he's not going to bowl though.
Yeah, I mean, is Agar good enough to bat 7 in the Australian side? That's another question.
Yeah, that's another question. Yeah, Agar at 8 is pretty strong, but then Agar at 7, it's like, yeah.
Agar,
no, I think Agar has to bat 7 because you want 5 specialist bowlers.
If Agar's at 8, who are we dropping? I suppose we have to play Stark, Cummins, Zampa. And then who the other 4 overs coming from? Mitch Marsh and Maxwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's reliable enough.
It's probably not reliable,
you'd much rather having, like, our bowlers are much better than our batters.
Yeah.
You'd think, right? So the options of what we were talking about earlier with
England to what? They haven't got higher than 170 this series. Even the game that they were chasing, they weren't going to. Like we have an excellent bowling five, and they're working so well together. This 4 plus whoever else plays. Why should we change that? We've got probably the best bowling lineup in the world right now in T20 cricket, I would say.
I was just going to say, I guess to an extent you could say this Stoinis / Marsh and Agar is sort of like Pandya and Jadeja. Like that's probably the closest comparison. And I don't know if they're going to do that, but if Australia does it, then it might be something that works.
Yeah. I mean, Marsh and Sloan, it's hard to judge after this 1-3 game series, but Marsh and Sloan has both had their chances to take the team home, and Marsh took it. And I mean, we don't know. We don't know how Marsh has been batting, but like in the Big Bash, he's got going pretty quickly. The scorches, he's obviously inconsistent, but I'd rather inconsistent.
I mean, you could argue Stoinis got them off to a good enough start as well at number 3.
Yeah, he was okay. But I don't think he's as good as Smith.
I mean, I guess we'll find out during the ODI series because I'm sure both Stoinis and Marsh will play.
I mean,
I think ODI number 6 and 7 is very different to 2020.
Yeah. T20 is a very fine art.
True.
I mean, by the end, you might be playing the same role. But that's only if the top order did well.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mitch Marsh is inconsistent. I think he can go big 50% of the time, as opposed to Slonis, he barely ever goes big, and he'll just hit the 20 off 20 when you need him to score big. The thing is, he actually can score fast when he's opening. It seems like often he gets the innings off to a flyer for the Stars when he opens, but he just can't do that when he doesn't open. It seems to me.
I saw this other point. I'm not suggesting it. I just thought it was pretty funny. So they said have Stoinis opening, and have Finch in the middle order. Like,
No.
I don't think.
No way.
I don't know why someone would even say that though. Because he has batted middle order in IPL and one day, I think, one time, 3 times. But yeah.
I would rather have Warner in the middle order than Finch, actually.
I don't think either of them should be in the middle order.
Right.
So another test. Let's move on to England.
Yeah.
Does Jason Roy make his way back into the test side now that David Milan is apparently the number 1 T20 batsman in the world?
Well, before we were saying Banton or Milan, and I think Milan's winning that race, and that's why you could keep the openers. You could put Roy back in. I don't think there's
but that means Roy.
I don't think Milan
or Bairstow has to go into the order.
I'm saying I don't think there's a problem with Milan at 4 compared to 3. I think his strike rate's good enough, and I think it'll still work fine.
I don't think they want to change that. Milan's working excellently in that.
Well, maybe Bairstow at 4 then.
Well, that's the question.
But there's Morgan. Morgan drops to 5.
Morgan didn't play 4 in this series.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. They can bat 4, but is Bairstow going to be better in the middle order than Banton, do you think?
I mean, we don't know because in recent years he's only ever opened the batting in white ball cricket, and he seems to just go from ball 1. But that's to an extent it's because the field's in. So,
and obviously, you got to remember Stokes is the obvious one coming back into this side. So I don't think you want Stokes and Morgan 5 and 6. I think you want them 4 and 5. And that's why I think you put Banton.
That's the other thing. Do you think we were all saying Moeen has to be 7, but I don't think England are actually thinking that right now. Is that the right decision?
I think it's hard to judge it this year because they haven't had Stokes. They wanted the 5 genuine bowlers. But like when you get Stokes back, he can bowl overs. I think you can then move Mo into 7 and still have those overs.
And then take out who would or Curran.
Probably Jordan would be Jordan or Curran.
I don't think they'd ever drop Jordan. He's played the most games for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wood's been a bit better than Jordan or Curran, but either of those 3 basically. And then you could then fit more batsmen in, basically. Fit all the batsmen in.
So let's look. From England's point of view, I don't think their middle order wasn't that great either.
Yep.
So it was just an off series for Morgan. Banton's still young, so do you think there's any alarm bells for them, England?
Not
Uh,
really.
Not
Like we said at the start, like it's a 3-match series.
Yeah.
And yeah, lost my train of thought. It's a 3-match series, and not everyone had an opportunity to show and bat in the position where they wanted to bat necessarily. I'm sure Banton would prefer to open or bat in the top 3.
I was just
This is
thinking
not
about
gonna
someone
happen.
else.
asking.
Good old Joe Denley. Has he improved his chances of that knock?
No, like he's competing against Stokes and right now.
I mean, yeah, I think
happen.
Stokes probably comes back into the side for a bowler.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But then if Roy comes in, it probably has to be for Bairstow, in my opinion. And
The batting order for England is going to be a nightmare because they're all such powerhouses, and you want them all facing as many balls as possible.
I don't know if you guys saw, Roy is in the one-day squad now as well.
Right. Okay.
For this series, yeah.
I think you have Butler opening with either Roy or Bairstow, and then you just go Milan, Stokes and Morgan 4 and 5, and then Banton 6 and Ali 7. That's my England batting order. I think that's their best.
Yeah.
I think that you can keep that consistent. Just Roy and Bairstow rotate basically.
So 6 is too low for Stokes, but it's fine for Banton.
Yes. Yeah, you want Stokes batting more time than Banton probably.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, what we considered before the series was Butler at 6, but I think what changed is that we now know that like Butler has to open the batting. Just because he's so useful there, it'd be a waste not to have him opening. He's probably better than both Bairstow and Roy. So I think that's the big change, is that it's got to probably be either Roy or Bairstow, unless one of them can bat 6. It's probably got to be one of them that gets dropped.
Yeah, I guess we won't know until Stokes plays, because that's the only reason Moeen's that high up.
Yeah. So, any other talking points on the series, you think? How about, is Glenn Maxwell good enough just to stay in the T20 side?
I think people love to hate Maxwell, and they also love to love him when he's playing. And I think this series is typical, to an extent, typical of Maxwell, and then typical of the response. But I think he deserves the respect to, have the series ignored and just continue on with him, because T20 is meant to be his format.
It is meant to be, but he's got to start getting more runs. In another bad series like this, I think it's going to really bring into question whether Darcy Short is a better option for that middle order.
But when's the last time Maxwell played? Like, he hasn't played this year, so it's kind of tough to judge.
I think you have the one-day format as well, and how bad he's been there. But it seems like he mostly only gets runs in the IPL in terms of T20s, and apart from that,
I mean, well, more so Big Bash, arguably.
Oh, I think better in the IPL than Big Bash. He hasn't been that good in the Big Bash.
He hasn't been
Max
IPL last
really
2 years. He didn't even play last year.
And he ended up good at the end. I don't know.
I mean, you could argue Maxwell, his hype is way higher up than his actual skill. But I think he's just too good to leave out in 2020s.
For now, I agree. The other surprising thing for me this series was Owen Morgan didn't do much at all. I don't think there's anything to be alarmed about for England yet, but
Morgan's in such good form.
Morgan's a funny thing. Morgan would even say, I know he said it before, he'd willingly drop himself if he's not playing well enough.
I mean,
and England have a lot of options.
Exactly. Like when we're talking about dropping either Bairstow or Roy, Morgan has to stay in form. In fact, they all have to stay in form, because no one's safe except for maybe Stokes and Butler. Apart from that, I don't see why anyone should be that safe. Stokes is already a pretty good captain.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure when Australia's next 2020 series will be. Probably against India.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be great.
That'd be interesting. I think they'll probably keep the same team, I guess.
Yeah, I'd love if we could play
the ship so
as well. That'd be really cool. But probably won't.
That'd be amazing, but I haven't heard any links of that. Surely that makes more sense than playing them in a test match.
Hmm.
Because the test isn't even part of the test championship as well, don't forget.
I guess last question, is there anyone else on the fringe for Australia that you really think that this series has made you think that they should really be getting close to the T20? Someone that didn't play at this series. You can
Who
think of any?
didn't play?
Yeah.
I'll just chuck a name out there. If they have doubts against Kerry, why not Philippi?
Sure. Yep.
Right.
I think
I think Wade's a better option at the moment.
probably, but if Wade can't play middle order, I don't know what's
Philippi's opening for the Sixers.
Oh, sure, but I think he could bat middle order. Could he bat
Yeah,
better?
we don't even know if he can.
That's the thing, we don't know.
Yeah. Obviously, I want to say Darcy Short. I think the T20 team is screaming out for him at the moment with all these collapses. I think he can hang in there and also score fast.
That's also a middle order thing. This is the problem. All our best
But even
players
Short never played middle order. Well,
yeah, sure, but he's adapted really well in terms of one days into the middle order. I think he could adapt for T20s. I think he could probably better than Wade. I think Short would be better at adapting into the middle order.
I think it's one of those things where you just have to try it. Just have to have that.
It's almost like I want Short to play, and just have no keep. Like, who's the keeper then? Like, it's kind of hard.
Pretty funny to have no keeper.
As in, like, the sixth best batsman. Like, who is? There's no wicket keeper that's in our sixth best batsman to an extent.
Yeah, Wade's pretty good, but I don't know. I feel they were not going to just ignore Carey either. I think he'll probably still play for the time being over Wade. Another question.
I really do think the ODI is going to play a big part in terms of T20 selection. That's just.
I don't think it should. Like, I think that's.
It shouldn't, but it will.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it normally works.
But serious question, Daniel Sams. We've been talking about that number 7 spot a lot. I think if Daniel Sams can start to make some runs again, why not?
It's like one of those, but our bowling stocks, our bowling right now is so good. We're literally talking about this.
I
That's
the problem right now.
Speaking of
if Sams is to come in, we have to replace the batter, and that's just not possible.
Speaking of one day form, I reckon Sams, he'd have to have a pretty good Marsh Cup to get into consideration. Like, that could help a lot.
He always does. But I've got a feeling.
I assume he'd be batting number 7 for New South Wales, right?
I don't think there's going to be a Marsh Cup. Probably not at all. And if there is one, it'll probably be after the Test summer.
All right. Okay, never mind.
And even the Shield's going to be played in an Adelaide hub, is what I've heard. Women's Big Bash is in Sydney, so let's go. But yeah, Daniel Sams. I mean, was he top wicket taker in the Big Bash? I think.
What? So you're saying Sam 7 and no Ago, or what?
Sam 7 Ago, right?
Yeah.
Got Kane Richardson. Can the Sams offer as much as Kane Richardson?
Yeah, but like then Hazelwood.
Well, yeah, sure, but still rotate. But can Sams offer as much as Richardson or Hazelwood to the bowling? Maybe. He gets wickets.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He'd be better at the depth than Hazelwood.
I prefer having Hazelwood in the team.
I think he'd be better at the depth than Richardson.
He's untested. But
Going down to 8, I'd really like.
This is a question. Do you think he'll play for Delhi?
I'd like.
Have you seen? I don't know. If we're going on a tangent, doesn't really matter. Have you seen Harsha's latest video about Delhi, Ryan?
Yeah.
Like they haven't. They could easily play a full Indian batting line.
Yeah, full Indian 11. Yeah.
So, but from terms of international perspective, Sams is probably better than Carey and Stoinis. I mean, we're talking about these issues with Stoinis and Carey. What's Ricky Ponting thinking right now if he's got them as their middle order? So,
honestly, it'd be really interesting to see what Ponting does for Stoinis and Carey.
Yeah, maybe they can put Carey at 4 or something.
They have Iyer and Punt and Rahane already. Well.
We'll talk about this in our RPL episode.
Yeah, I guess. So Sams, but I feel like he needs to play some more games to show, and unfortunately, he won't have a chance.
To be fair, it's only New South Wales and New South Wales Marsh Cup and Big Bash.
Yeah, I mean, he does everything. He's done everything.
If he smashes the IPL,
he's done well in every format. except for the batting, obviously. His batting's dropped off a lot. And that was the main reason I want him in the team, as just to improve that batting depth. Although I've got to say, we have a batting collapse. I don't have that much faith in Daniel Sams to stay in. He's get out in a batting collapse. But I would have liked to have seen it happen for one game. And if he can improve in batting, I think he's certainly got a future in the T20 side. So we got
is there any other genuine all rounder that we're missing? Yeah.
Spot fast bowler.
There's Cameron Green, but there's a long time before anything comes
on.
We
don't even. He doesn't even.
Yeah, there's a long time.
I can think of a good one.
Yeah.
Malenko, yes.
Does Simon Malenko have a future in any format of the Australian team?
How old is Malenko?
Does Malenko have a future in any Tasmanian team?
Already doesn't. As much as I love my man. He's an excellent player. I don't know why he's lost his contract. Yeah, on
that's actually. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
We're good to wrap this up. Just running out of things to talk about, I think. Given that we're on to Simon Malenko, I think that should pretty much signify the end of any episode.
It signifies the end of all cricketing discussion.
We'll just go to Simon Malenko.
At that point, you just give up. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back hopefully soon for a one-day episode. If not, we'll see you for the IPL. Thanks, guys.
You guys.
See ya.